morning, YouTube family. Martinez Country Home here. Well, it's Friday, June the 12th, I believe, 2021. And today's video, I wanted to talk about, I really need to talk about this series that Neverlosetruth has been putting out, this video series on communism and how the ideology of the Marxist ideology has spread across America. But before I start with that, I wanted to let y'all know about the gas here. It was $2.45. Today's Friday, Thursday. On Wednesday, it was at $2.45 where I put it at. And yesterday, I started noticing that a lot of the local gas stations, their prices had gone up, and they had been hanging around in the 250s. Where I put it at was at $2.45 at the Murphy. So I'm like, man, you know what? I ended up getting a call for an emergency call at my job, and had to gas up. So I go to where I go and gas up, and it had gone all the way up to $2.69. So in one day, it went up 24 cents. So I know the rest of the country has like very bad, very high gas prices, and I guess we shouldn't complain. But it's all relative, guys. We got used to having low gas, and you kind of budget the gas. Is you gotta put gas. So we understand that there's places where it's higher, but when it gets higher, no matter how low it is, the prices are higher. How I'm trying to say, it still affects us in our budget because now we've gotten used to paying a certain amount. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. So it's at $2.69, which is a lot lower still than other places, but for here in our area, it's high. You know what I'm trying to say. So anyway, guys, I really wanted to talk about this the Marxist ideology that's being spread here in America. And I was listening to this series, and man, it really made me want to comment or have a discussion about what she was talking about. And I'm gonna leave the link to the latest video that she just put out this morning, and you can go back, and it's really scary how what she's talking about is, it's going on. So check this out. The latest video she's putting out, that the one from last night, talks about how Marxist ideology is being taught at the schools, and they don't call it flat out Marxist ideology at the schools. They call it other things. They have their terminology that they use in order to soften what they're doing, right? So they're basically teaching the kids about this. It's like a cultural revolution in the schools. What's the term that they're using now? I forget. I just had it. They're throwing this term around like nothing. Anyway, years ago when my kids were at school, were in public school, in elementary, I remember gradually we started getting when the school starts, we started getting their supply list for the year. And I was like, man, there were like ridiculous amounts of school supplies. And we never really thought about it. Just the fact that, man, they're using it's a lot of money for all these school supplies for them being such little kids. So this has to be when I had already woke up, right? So we go to the classroom and their open house, and it was my daughter, right? And I think I kind of embarrassed her, but so we go into one of the classrooms, and the teacher had put the desks in groups of 4, all right? And in the middle of the no, it was a table. It was a table with the 4 chairs, and in the middle, she put like a little, I guess you could like a caboodle basically, and it had a box of crayons for 4 kids, right? It had a box of crayons. It had pencils. It had like color pencils, erasers, whatever, right? And so, I asked her, I go, what's this setup? She goes, oh, the kids, they're sitting, they sit in 4, and they that's their supplies. I go, well, how come there's not like 4 colors and there's only 1 eraser? How come there's, and she goes, oh, well, they share the box of colors, and as they need them, we bring another box out. And I go, well, we just, on their school supplies, they got all these, we had to buy so many boxes of colors and of crayons and all these supplies, right? And she goes, oh, well, that's because there's some kids that can't afford school supplies. So, a lot of these kids, they don't have enough to buy school supplies for themselves. So we share, so that way they don't feel left out or whatever. And that kind of really pissed me off, guys. I'm not a mean person. I'm not selfish. I am a charitable person. And I told her, I go, look, you know what, if a child needs crayons, y'all should, or school supplies, that's why they have them, in the community. They have, like at the grocery store, like our local grocery store, every year, basically they have they put out lists, like if you want to donate, and as you're picking up supplies, there's a big old box that they have, and you put in supplies that you donate, and they send them to the schools, And I'm telling her this, I go, there's places where, I go, this is what I'm telling her. I told her, this really sounds like communism. I go, the supplies that I bought for my kids are for my kids. They're not for the other kids. They're for them. Y'all shouldn't be doing this. And I was trying to be very polite, and she's like freaking out, like she was looking at an alien or something, and I told her that's not right what y'all doing. I go, I'm not being selfish or anything, but what you're doing here is, I know what you're doing. I don't know if you know what you're doing, but this is communism. This is the stuff that I bought for my kids is for my kids. It's not for the other kids. If y'all need some, then send out a letter to the parents and ask if we can donate supplies for the classroom or something like that. But don't take the stuff for my kids and and try to share it out like that. Don't do that. And I don't know how it sounds to you guys, but I was trying to make a point. I was looking at the bigger picture. I would gladly buy supplies for another child if they needed it. Gladly. But don't take from my child, anyway. So this was not just in that class. They were doing it in almost all the classrooms, and you should have seen these big supply lists that they had. So, and another thing, I had two nephews that were in high school at one of the local high schools, and it's predominantly Hispanic, and they had, I freaked out because they said that, my nephews, since they were little kids, my 2 nephews, we used to go, I used to take them with me on our supply runs. We were like preppers, right? And we would go to the army surplus stores, and go buy gear, like old gear, like knives, flashlights, and I would take them with me to buy to like medical supplies and stuff like that. They were little kids, but when they were in high school, by that time they were not in high school yet. Excuse me, guys, let me get here before I get T-boned out here. They were telling me how at their high school, they had what they called the Explorers Club. And the Explorers Club was for kids that, if they wanted to pursue a career in law enforcement. And so they had these kids running, with a shirt, and they carried around like a wooden gun, and they basically patrolled the school, kind of like the patrols. Remember the crossing guards and all that. When I was in elementary, I was a patrol. But these kids were it took it a step above. These kids were actually in the halls. Well, actually, I guess that's what the patrols were. But these were geared. It was for kids that want to go into law enforcement. That's the program. And so it reminded me of, the reason I bring that up is because it reminded me of the cultural revolutions that happened in China, especially in China and in Russia. But in China, they would use the students, the kids, to snitch out their parents and other kids. And it was almost like East Germany, like the Stasi, how they used people to snitch on each other, And I don't know how good that will work in America. So I've been seeing examples of this Marxist ideology for many years, and I was very outspoken about it. And I remember at my kids' elementary school, we used to live in the northeast side, and I was very outspoken. I'd go to the schools all the time when they'd be messing with my kids or trying to come out with some BS. Man, I would go over there or try to tell us that, they're the school and they're the authority. And I would tell them, me and my wife would go and we tell them, I go, look, we're here. We have our kids here for y'all to teach them something. We're not here to, they're not here to, for you to boss them around or whatever. My wife and I, we're the authority. We're the authority. Our kids are our kids. Y'all don't have no say but what goes on in the classroom. As long as y'all teach them what y'all need to teach them in the class, that's all. Y'all have a curriculum or whatever that y'all gotta follow. Y'all got a curriculum y'all gotta follow, and that's it. So, I don't want to hear it, whatever. But anyway, so that's the way it went. We've been seeing this Marxist ideology. I've been seeing it for many years, and I was very outspoken against it. And another thing on this video, guys, I know it's what I'm talking about right now. It's not prepping per se, but you gotta prepare yourself mentally about what you're seeing and look at the big picture and read between the lines. That's why I'm making this video, and really, that's why I'm talking about this, about communism and Marxist ideology, because that is one of the many enemies we have here. And Marxism, communism, it's evil, it's immoral. And people like to talk about how, well, it's equal, everybody's equal. No, we are not equal. Everybody thinks different. We all have different thoughts. We are not equal. Some of us work harder than others. Some of us earn our keep in this world, and others do not. So we are not equal. Some people just are bold. Some people go for it all, man. Some people do not. Some people, it's immoral. Communism and Marxist ideology, all that, it's immoral and it's wrong. It's evil. That's my opinion. Really, it's not so much my opinion. People can call it what they want, or that, well, morality, it changes. Morality does not change. I don't give a damn what you say. It does not change. There's a legal term, a maximum of law. Well, maybe it's not a maximum of law, but There's a legal term called malam inse, and that basically means it's bad on its face. Marxism, communism is bad on its face. It's wrong. So anyway, remember that term, guys. Malam inse. So, and I believe that they're using a lot of reverse psychology. Again, here we come to psychology. So check this out, guys. And I'm guilty of this. I am. I like to. There's a lot of people that call themselves patriots, right? They basically worship the flag. Okay. They do. But I can see, I know what their intention is in their mind, even though they might be misled. I know what they're trying. I know what they're doing. You know, they're feeling patriotic, and I don't feel my thinking or the way I see the world has changed. I do not worship the flag. I don't wave the American flag. I don't do none of that. But I understand the idea of America, guys. I understand the idea of America. Freedom, your natural rights, working for your fortune, for your wealth, for making a better life for yourself and your child, for your children and your descendants. That's America. Working hard and buying up a piece of land and building your home, or buying a home that's yours. And you know, I understand, yes, we gotta pay property taxes, so it's never really ours. But once you pay off your house, you know, the way I see it, once you pay off your house, all you're gonna pay is property taxes or whatever. The system's not perfect. I know this, guys. I'm just stay with me here. But the idea of America, the idea of freedom and natural rights, your God-given rights, that's America. I'm not talking about the flag, not talking about none of that. But these people that be talking about these, like the patriots, right? You know, I understand why they're made fun of. But let me tell you something, guys. Those people have that idea of liberty and freedom in their hearts. Most of them are Christians. I'm not saying that they're good Christians or perfect Christians, but you know what I'm trying to say. Yes, I understand. We can sit here all day long, guys, and talk about that the white people oppress the blacks and Hispanics, whatever. I for myself, I did not grow up in those times, but those times are not like back then. You got black people that oppress black people. You got Hispanics that oppress Hispanics. You got a lot of Hispanics, a lot of blacks that are communists. So it's not exclusive to white people. You know what I'm saying? Asians. It's not exclusive. People oppress people all the time. Different races exploit their own people. What I'm getting at here, guys, is this communism and all that. The people that make fun of patriots. You know what? You know, I look at the bigger picture. I might not wave a flag and all this, but I understand the idea of America. I understand that. And I would rather live my life under an America that I grew up in with that idea than to live in a communist society or a society with Marxist ideology, or that I'm the same, we're the same. We're not the same. We are not the same. We're not equal. We're not. God created us equal. We all have equal opportunities, but we are not equal. We are not the same. Everybody has different thoughts. Everybody has different outlooks on life. We're all different, guys. We cannot be all like the Chinese or in North Korea and dress in uniforms and dress the same. No. It's our uniqueness, our differences that makes us special, and it's all our differences that keep the New World Order, one world government. That's what keeps it from taking hold, because especially here in America, we're so different. And I don't see here, I don't see it like, I don't see it a lot. I know there is though, because I remember I used to go to the schools and there would be counselors, and I don't know who they were, but I think they were NGOs. They were not part of the school, because when we go and talk to a counselor about my kids or whatever, it got to the point where there was a different, and I know there were part of organizations like we've been talking about, like about these NGOs are trying to spread ideologies in the schools, and they'd be sitting there and they wouldn't really talk a lot. They'd just be listening. And I knew who they were. They were not part of the school. They were like how do you say? They were like consultants. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, guys, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but kind of the conversation's kind of all over the place. But I understand. The thing is that it's almost like that being said, everything I said, what happened was the corporations got too strong. Whenever they gave the corporations the same rights as human beings, that's when everything that should not have never happened. A corporation and a flesh and blood human being cannot commingle, guys. Cannot commingle. A corporation is just an entity. It's a legal fiction. And that's when they messed everything up for us. They messed everything up. That should have never happened. Giving the corporations the same rights as a person. And if you think about it now, the corporations are the ones that have rights, and us people, the flesh and blood people, we have privileges and safeguards. That's BS, man. Y'all gotta educate yourselves into what's going on, the terminology, the way they look at us. So these communists, in theory, I understand what they're getting at. I understand. They have a legitimate gripe, but the thing is that the people that are running all that, there's always going to be a ruling class. There's going to be a ruling class that's going to be in charge of doling out the resources. They're the ones that are going to determine who gets what. So they're not equal. So communism, it's BS, man. Marxist ideology is BS. I just thought it's very important, guys, that we look at these things and realize what's going on. The corporations really are the ones that are the enemy. And these people pushing communism, they're not helping any. What we need to do is just put a stop to these communist organizations, and the thing is too, the fact that we have the freedom of speech and all this, it's let the communist parties grow and all that. But they're immoral, so I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like if you're pushing evil, you're pushing wrong, then you shouldn't be allowed to exist. It should be illegal to have the Communist Party, because they're pushing they're pushing. Basically, they're basically pushing. They're basically pushing stealing. You know. The politicians, man, we gave them we over the course of time we gave them too much power. We let them get away with too many things. We let them operate outside of the Constitution. And again, guys, I understand about the Constitution, and you know that, and people are right. We are not a republic anymore. We're basically a tyranny. But that being said, also is people here in America, we don't like people telling us what to do. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. And I'm not talking about like at work or whatever. I'm talking about some weak ass politician trying to tell me how to run my life or what's best for me and my family. F that. Anyway, guys, ran over. Hope you have a great weekend. I'm gonna try my best. I worked very hard this week. Was on call. It's been very hot. We're in Texas, so ACs are going crazy around here. So anyway, hope y'all enjoy your weekend, guys. Have a great Friday, great weekend. Enjoy time with your family. Keep God in your hearts. Lord Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. And that's what's going to get us through. That's the real truth, guys. Y'all take care of each other and love each other out there, because that's what we're here for. God bless.